I'm scared. I'm scared in 20 years I'm going to come looking for you. I'm scared I'm going to have waited that long for you to remember everything I always knew. You'll look back and you'll remember my face from someplace once, and I'll try and recreate that spark in my eye that made you fall for me in the first place, but this time it won't be love. It'll be heartbreak, and it's weird how shiny they make your eyes for different reasons. You'll introduce me to your wife as a friend you once had, and kids that we'd named on various drives home. I'd make up a husband, if only to hide being alone whilst praying for your divorce, but I never act upon it. Nah, I promise. I'm scared all this is actually going to happen. I've got to prepare myself for it. You'd offer me a drive home and I'd pray for traffic. Talk about current affairs whilst I counted your eyelashes. 93 over 90. I hoped you lost the last 3 on wishes about me, and some days you couldn't be without me, but I'm guessing it's just all old age at this point. I'd repeat, I'm not okay with this. Over and over, so loudly, pressing the hazard light repeatedly and the horn so everybody could hear what heartbreak sounds like. Hypothetically, I wouldn't actually do that, but I'd want to. I'd touch your ring finger and you'd say, you're being inappropriate. And I'd say, well, sometimes you've got to feel it to know it. You'd say, well, that's not how it works. I'd tell you to touch my chest so you could feel how it hurts, and you'd do it. Just to prove your point. You'd look back on the road once I'd proven mine. If time is a healer, I'm counting every last second. I should talk about planned holidays, but I wouldn't listen. You'd say, you're being stubborn. I'd say, well, at least you remember one thing. You'd shout, everything, and break. You stopped on double yellows and I waited for you to elaborate. You didn't. You never elaborated. You just made your point and expected me to guess it like you have been all this time, and silence has never echoed so loudly. I know that sounds cliche, but it hadn't. I said, look, breathe once if you love me and stop if you don't. You smiled and said in one breath, there's a spark in your eye that even now makes me think you're capable of ruling the world. I've thought this day through 1,000,000 times and I didn't expect it to still hurt. And I know you still like lemon raisin ice cream because I can smell it on your breath. And I've loved you for the longest time. But sometimes you have to forget. We drove on. 15 minutes it took. I imagine myself in a Miranda July story and look for other passengers in love with their drivers. I noticed one, maybe 2. You've got a beard now. You always hated facial hair. It makes you look like a hobbit. You look dashing. I hate it. I thank you for the drive home and you apologise for the traffic. I go to close the door. You shout, 83 over 90 eyelashes. Breathe out if you love me. This was getting over you. Thank you. Okay, this is the last one. Thanks for having me. It's been really, really nice. You've been really lovely. But yeah, definitely talk to me on Twitter and Facebook, because that'd be really nice to talk to everybody, because I don't do much now. I've had one of these strokes. I have to stay in the house for ages, so I'll be able to talk to everyone. Everybody. I'm not even going to be like, oh yeah, I'll talk to you in a bit. I'll be like, okay, how's your day been? I'd straight away. I'm interested in you. So. And if you know Adele, tell her that I care about people. I need to stop pulling the stroke card. Yeah, this is a story that happened. I got really, really drunk and went round to my ex's house and screamed loudly at his window until his mum came out and we ate pizza on the curb and she told me to go home. So, it's tragic, don't laugh. I didn't laugh during your poems, you're horrible. I set these lights, I couldn't see anybody, I can see you. So, okay, but yeah, this last one I'm going, I'm sorry. Look out your window tonight. You'll see me ranting under street lights, shouting out your last rides to anybody who wants to hear and to everybody who doesn't. I can't possibly let you sleep. The reason I love losing it calls proving it. Manchester Orchestra on a mixtape through your letterbox to document our love lost and how we can fix this, because it needs it. Spotlight on me as I shout out how far we've come in terms of far from holy, with undertones of whiskey which doesn't suit me. I'm not the prettiest of drunks or girls. As I shout to the whole world how I've tried to get over you, the guys that were rubbish before you and even worse for me after, chasing that happy ever after that me and you had. As one guy shouts, "Shut it, you silly snag." You open the front door, sat on your porch floor, saying nothing, but it meaning much more. I continue. At 18, love was sushi dinners from petrol stations and the education of UK hip-hop, jest, brain tats and Kalashnikov, who I hadn't heard of, but I couldn't be without now. Each other's duvet, completely wrapped up, protected and suffocated in equal measure. The balance being, couldn't be without each other. To that point was enough. I tried to tell myself over and over that it is since, but it isn't. Such courage. Drank more than the two that I can manage, and at the disadvantage of being at your front door, cards laid out on the floor. Next the heels that I threw my parade of affection. And did I mention that I love you? Your head in hands, as I shout out life plans we discussed on drives home, which meant nothing at the time, but now I'm sleeping alone mean absolutely everything. Yeah. I'm clinging to the hope that at some point tonight I'm going to stumble across something that might remind you to be in love with me, but who needs reminding really? Love needs no reminder. And in much kinder terms, well, less kinder terms, I'm hoping to forget you because it needs to. Sat cross-legged on your floor, you hand me a tea. You put your hoodie around me as I'm dressed inappropriately for a public shaming. We could go on for hours, blaming each other for the bits that went wrong and holding on to the parts that were just wicked. Eyes meeting briefly between sips of tea. You don't look at me like you love me, but you care for me as you pull on the strings of your hoodie. Put my head on your lap. No, full well you're not going to push me to the pavement, even if you want to. Because at this point, if I was you, I'd be changing my address. You're a mess, you say, and I'm not sure how things turned out this way, but I find myself on your side. Hurt pride, headache. I'm the best at making the worst mistakes. Barely conscious. I mumble the obvious. I'm a dickhead. But I love you. Thank you.